Oh, hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody, depending on which part of this beautiful country that you're in. You're watching Rebel Roundup, Rebel News' daily news and opinion show. I'm your host, Sheila Gunn-Reid, and I'm joined by my regular Wednesday co-host, my best friend in real life, Saskatchewan broadcaster, activist, and mother, Lise Merle. Lise, how's it going?
Well, hello, my beloved Sheila Gunn-Reid, and hello, Rebel fam. Would you believe that not 30 seconds ago, Andrew Scheer left me a message on my home phone? Okay, on my home phone,
Okay.
saying that Pierre Poilievre is holding a
Yes.
rally in Saskatchewan tomorrow. This would be a Thursday in some industrial park in Saskatoon. We've got to get the details, but Sheila, would you be interested in joining me tomorrow in Saskatoon as part of our Western Canadian Rebel correspondence group to cover the Pierre Poilievre rally?
I would like to officially RSVP to you right now that I am going, and I thought we already made this decision at 2
Yes, we
a.m. this
did.
morning when
We
you and
we
I were texting.
we did make that decision, but now all of you know this is where we are going to be. Here we are. We're 209 Revenue Road, Biz Hub Industrial Park in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Doors open at 6 p.m., but get there a little bit early. We
Early,
can tell you
early, and
by
bring a lawn chair. Oh, I'm
oh,
bringing a lawn chair. Bring
we
a lawn chair.
it's going to be like a tailgate situation. If we
Yep.
if the Edmonton rally taught us anything, there is going to be a sort of party atmosphere. It is a jovial mood that happens at Pierre Poilievre rallies. It's pretty excellent. And for anybody that wants to get a little feel of what Canada was like before these last 10 awful years, it's at a Pierre Poilievre rally. So Saskatchewan, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow in Saskatoon.
Yes. Yes. There won't be the dour, vulgar boomers at any of this thing. Our boomers are way better than their boomers. Our
Yeah,
boomers hate Trudeau's name. They spit before they say it because they lived through two of them. They
yeah,
love the oil patch. They love farming. Our
yes.
boomers are different than theirs.
Sa
Remember that.
Sas Saska boomers are
Mm,
rad. Like, we
Alberta
can't get
boomers.
enough of yeah, Alberta boomers and the Saska boomers, they are a pretty fun crew. So we can't wait to see you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. in the industrial park in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
4
You
4
bet.
p.m. Bring your lawn chairs. All right.
Uh-huh.
All right. Now you know what I'm doing tomorrow. I might have a sub for myself on the live stream just so I can make the journey. It's hard to be in two places at once, as we discussed at 2 a.m. this morning over text. Now,
Yeah,
for those of you who are watching at home, depending on where you're watching, there are a couple of different ways that you can support the work that we do. So if you're watching on Rumble, thank you for supporting a platform that supports your free speech. So if you want to support us on Rumble, you can leave a Rumble rant. That's their paid chat. If it's over the $5 US cutoff, we're obligating ourselves to read it on air. However, if it's under that amount, we'll do our best to get it on air. Now, Wednesdays are tight around here at Rebel News. So we tend not to go long, but we'll do our best to get to the chats that fall under that amount. We'll try to make the time because your support is important to us. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, we are recently remonetized over there. Who knows how long that's going to last? I every day that I wake up and we're still remonetized over there, I remain shocked. But if you want to leave us a super chat over there, again, same rules apply with the $5 US cutoff. But if you are watching us after the fact, if you're watching the recorded version of this show, you can also leave a super thanks. That's their paid comment. And we thank you in advance for all of your support because we're up against the state funded mainstream media, which I experienced firsthand in action at the leaders' debate. Just a wriggling snake pit of people. And they're all funded by Justin Trudeau. And of course, we're not. And you can tell in our coverage. It's funded by Justin Trudeau. I still have to stop saying that. Although, what is the difference? Mark Carney is just a more boring,
it's the
uh,
same.
yeah, a more osteoporotic Justin Trudeau, might I say? But anyway, so eh, we you can tell in our coverage we ain't taking a penny from the Liberals, that's for sure. So let's get into the news today. There's a couple of different tweets here, a couple of different stories. Uh, Alberta remains one of the most conservative places in North America. But let's start
Mm,
here. Most conservative voters say they don't trust media reports on party leaders. Yeah.
you
Thanks.
think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I saw firsthand why you should not trust the mainstream media. We had video of their interactions with us and they were still reporting it a completely different way. They did this during the Freedom Convoy where hundreds of
Yes.
independent journalists were just streaming what they saw and the media from their little glass castles were reporting something completely different, telling you, don't believe what you just saw. You must
Yep.
believe us. And so
Yeah.
that sentiment is bleeding over into this. And so when Drea told Judy Trin of the CTV, nobody trusts you anymore, it plays out in the polling over and over and over again. They just
Well, I
don't
mean,
want to believe it.
can you bring that back up? Can you guys
Yeah.
bring that back up? Over half. of conservative voters don't trust what they see or hear about federal party leaders in media during the current election campaign. 56% of people who identified as conservatives in the Leger poll said they had little trust or none at all
Not
in
at
media
all.
reports about party leaders. Well, okay, you know what this says to me is people that self-identify as conservatives are the smartest people in the nation, because they are trusting what their eyes and ears are saying. They do not take the mainstream media's word for it. And they are looking at the entire industry with a great deal of suspicion, because the industry has fomented this. I mean, they have asked for this themselves. It's so funny to watch the mainstream media be like, but why do people want to defund the CBC? Why don't people have
Do you
trust in
want
us?
to know why? Because
Because you
of this
lie.
thing right here. Because of this thing right here. This is the biggest BS detector that you've ever seen. Because when CBC, when Rosie Barton lies to you, you
Yeah,
can just go and find out the truth. When they tell you something about what's happening, perhaps in the media room of the debates commission, and they say, oh, there's a scuffle started by Ezra Levant, and then you go on to X and you're like, no, it's the crazy guy from Ricochet that started that interaction, and the
right.
crazy guy
From
from
Hill Times,
Hill
Stuart
Times
Benson.
started the other
Yep.
one. You can check for yourself in real time. You can check the lies. And so, of course, that's why they also want to censor the internet, is because they don't want you fact checking them in real time.
Well, and this is also why they hire their own fact checkers. The people that they
Right.
hire as their own fact checkers are just spin doctors that are going to reinforce their narrative, the same as all of their expert panels. We've seen this time and time again, where the mainstream media will tell you a lie and then bring on paid experts to to bolster their lie. It is crazy. It is just
They're paid
crazy. So anyway,
experts that are not just paid by the CBC, they're
right.
paid experts, but also paid by the federal government,
That's
usually to
that is
support the federal government. We'll get to one of those in a minute here.
I
Um,
can't wait.
yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, just that's the thing. That's why they just remember. That's why they want to censor the internet, because the internet is where you can fact check their BS in real time.
Right, and congratulations, conservatives. I'm proud of you. Like, I'm proud that we're the ones that are calling out this baloney and putting a nail in the coffin of the mainstream media in Canada. Like Elon Musk likes to say, we are the media now. We
Yeah.
are the media now.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think it was in 2010, maybe 2012. Andrew Breitbart said that the new media is picking up where the old media failed, and that
Hmm.
was and the mainstream media at the time didn't listen to him, didn't
Hmm.
realize time to pivot. Somebody's going to eat your lunch. They are the candlestick makers at the dawn of the light bulb times.
That's
They
right.
just
That
are.
is that is the truth. Yes.
Okay, let's go into these federal polls from Alberta. Now, this is why I'm like, Alberta remains the one of the most wonderful places to live on the face of the earth. I could work for Tourism Alberta. I really could. And I
Hmm.
would do it for free. But this
Yep.
also tells you how wild the polls are, because which one of these do you believe? There's a 23-point spread between these polls. So,
Hmm.
federal polls in Alberta, Angus Reid on the low end has the Conservatives up 20 points. And on the high end, Abacus has Alberta up 43 points. So Leger is at 32. So who do we believe here? This is why I'm like, I'm the only poll that really counts is on election day. I have no inkling right now of what the internal polling data looks for like for the Conservatives. But look at
Hmm.
this. Like
Yeah, looks
the
looks like a pretty wide spread there in Alberta. But the only poll that's 100% accurate is an exit poll, where people have just left their polling station and admit to what they just did behind the
right.
cardboard divider. But like we saw in the American election and more recently in the Saskatchewan election, if you would have listened to the pollsters, okay, if you would have
Yeah.
listened to the pollsters, it was Kamala Harris that was going to take the American election, and it was the Saskatchewan NDP that was going to take the Saskatchewan election. And those two things were the furthest thing from the truth. So I think that you must look at polls with at least at least a tiny grain of salt, okay? At least a tiny grain of salt. You have to understand the way that they work, that they curate their lists, that the people that they approach may have a bias one way or the other, and depending on their funding structure, pollsters make their money off of working for many of them do anyway, making their money off of working for the federal government, taking federal grants, exactly like the media does. So you must sort of eye it with a great deal of suspicion. But I mean, do we think that Alberta is going to go liberal? Alberta or Saskatchewan is going to go liberal? Like, absolutely not. Like, it's just not going to
No,
happen. Yeah.
it's I don't know. I think it. I mean, yes, of course, the Conservatives are polling high in Alberta, higher than normal. Um, but I think it because more is at stake right now than ever before. The fate of Confederation plays out in this
Mhm.
election as much as the Eastern voters and selfish Eastern boomers don't want to admit. It really is about the fate of Confederation, but also like look at these polls. A 23-point split between the low end and the high end,
Yeah.
you know? Come on.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deviation, and you have to consider that there is a Western separatist movement afoot right now, and so those liberal numbers will be propped up by those Western separatists who are actually saying out loud, "Right, if Carney or the Liberals pull off another win, then we are gone." And so a great many of those people that answered their voting Liberal are actually Western separatists that are wishing to speed up the process. So
Yeah, there
there's
is some
consider
of that too. I
yeah.
also see that the PPC numbers are as low as the Greens in
Ooh,
Alberta. I don't know if you
that's
saw that,
hard.
maybe we can bring that back up. But you know
Yep.
what? I think that is in response to people who let's pull down.
Ooh,
Let's
we
roll
have to,
down.
like, scroll way down, yeah.
Oh, sorry, let's go back up. Just on the map
We just
there, you
need to
can
see
see
the
at the
oh, yeah,
bottom there,
yeah.
you can see greens and purples at the very bottom. That's
Yeah,
the PPCs and the Greens. And here's the thing, there are a lot of people who feel a lot of affinity with the PPC policies, but they are not going to risk a vote split. And that's just the
right.
practicality of it. And we know that I think it was 20 or 22 ridings that went to the Liberals because of a vote split last
Of
time,
the
including
PVC yeah,
including Edmonton Center. That's how
yeah.
we got Randy Boissonneau. Okay, both of them.
Yeah, and and it does bear mentioning that the Conservative Party can absolutely adopt some of the policies of the PPC. One of them, you know, some of the more popular policies of the PPC. There's nothing prohibiting the Conservatives from doing things that the PPC sort of floated first, or were because let's not forget the PPC was talking about the downside of immigration 5 years before any
Right.
other party was. And so now that it's sort of mainstream, well, now that leaves the door open to the Conservatives to do some of the other things that the PPC was saying they would do. So let's maybe hope that they consider that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always change to be made from within. That's what
Yep.
Wild Rose voters did when the party joined the PCs here in Alberta. They
Yeah,
basically
that was a wild
ran the
time.
place from the inside. They said we're going to get involved at the EDA level and then make our policy submissions at the AGM and get all of those things done. And so I'm for internal coups
Without
if they
question.
go in the right direction, that's for sure.
Yep. Yep. Without
Now
question.
let's talk about what I think is likely the image of the campaign. It is the image of what I think are the Liberal voters who continue to hold this country hostage, and that is the Brantford boomer. This image was captured by independent journalist Kareem Assad. I see the Spectator out of the UK covered this. Of course, nobody in Canada is covering it, but the Spectator's like, what? This is exactly it. Retired, possibly, comfortable pension.
Oh,
Watched his
privileged. Oh,
privileged.
privileged.
You can tell in just his outfit that he is a man of privilege. And
He
he's watched
golfs.
his he golfs. He's what my son's a golfer too, but he knows that that's where deals are
Those,
made. So as a
yeah,
young man, he's taken up the old man sport because he's like,
yeah,
I'm
but
going to
this
get into Project
This
management. You have to learn how to golf.
this guy golfs. This guy golfs every day. Okay, this guy golfs every day. He's got a membership at 3 clubs. He's got his mortgage paid off. He's
He
pulling his
watched his house
pension.
go from $30,000 to 1.5 million. That's what he's done. And look at
Oh,
these.
I mean,
I mean, this
honestly.
is just exactly what I imagine. And that finger is not like people are comparing this to like, oh, this is just our version of the F Trudeau flag. No.
No.
The F Trudeau was giving the middle finger to Trudeau. This boomer's giving it to the rest of us.
To the
He's giving
and
it
especially to
to
the
young
young people.
people.
That's
Yeah.
right. I cruised by on my boomer earnings. We could live in a single income house and my wife could stay home while I brought home the bacon and we're living in this comfortable retirement and this is what I think of you young people. This is what he did. Like
I got
don't tell
mine.
me.
I
That's
got
right.
mine.
Don't tell me this guy isn't having some real hard conversations with his grandkids right now. Like they're right now, this guy's grandkids are planning an intervention, being like, we've all noticed the cognitive decline in Papa over these last several years, and this is an international embarrassment now. Like Papa internationally embarrassed the family. Like maybe we should take him for some cognitive testing. Yeah, this is
And
embarrassing.
it's such a difference, right? Like this is what real selfishness is. Like we're constantly told by the left that we're being selfish because we don't want to pay a bunch of taxes. And I'm like, just let me keep
Right.
what I earned, please. Like
Yeah.
that's not who's the selfish one? You who wants my earnings or me who wants to keep them? And the
Yeah.
young people are saying, we don't want what you have, grandpa. We don't want to take from you. We want you to get out of the way to allow us to earn just a little bit of what you have. And
Yeah.
that's the real selfishness. You're standing in the way of the opportunities of the young people. Just the smugness of this guy
Yeah.
and who his lady defender there.
Yes.
Like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
she
anyway,
looks like a retired CUPE member. That's what like, if I
reti-
had to she looks like a retired librarian is what she looks like.
oh, she retired from the CRA. For sure. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
she looks like to me. Yeah. Um, okay.
Yeah, and he's taken some heat. Yeah, he's taken some, and deservedly so. He didn't think that his one moment of bad behavior was going to be amplified in the way it was. But here comes Kareem Assad with her little handy dandy camera. She likes to document these things. The next thing you know, this is the defining figure of the election in Canada.
And I think it was an underestimation by the left, as they always do, of the independent media. They underestimate us at their own peril. They
Yes.
underestimated how many people pay attention to Karima. They
Yeah.
completely underestimated it. It's an international story. I poked around on that old timers Facebook account, and good Lord, things are not going well for him over there. It is
I
heated.
can't imagine. I can't imagine.
Why do
The
you think I was
feedback.
awake at 2? Why do you think I was awake at 2 to respond to your text messages? I was
Is
reading
that
that
what you
guy's
were?
Facebook. Yes.
That's oh, I could see a quick pause on all of his social media. I'm surprised that he hasn't
It's
deleted
gone
it
now, I
right now.
think. I think
Is
it's gone
it?
now this morning.
Okay.
But also, uh, while he's, I mean, his family is probably planning that intervention, but his former employer is distancing themselves from him. So this is
Could you
an
imagine?
official. Could you look? They blurred the fingers, by the way. Railway City Brewery is and has always been about great beer and a welcoming tap room for everyone. They name him, which is amazing.
Wild.
Matt
Yeah.
James, featured in a recent viral picture, has no ownership or operational role here since 2022. His personal
The
actions and
sense.
opinions are his alone and are not representative of the views and the values of our team. So I think he owned a part of this and then sold it. And now he's living a comfortable life and screwing over everybody else, including the people who work at the former company that he may have owned. We remain an independent, community focused brewery committed to respect, inclusion, and the simple joy of sharing a fresh pint with friends. And that's it. So
Fair enough, fair enough. But don't tell me that they were like, this is their mea culpa. This is their mea culpa. They're like, please stop flooding our social media feeds with questions and this guy's picture. This is what Railway Brewing did here. They're like, please stop. We've had nothing to do with this guy for 2 years. And to be completely honest, he's gone like straight downhill in these last 3 years. So yeah, us and Matt, we're no longer affiliated. Like, please leave us alone. Please just buy a pint and leave us alone. This is
Yeah, we're a beer company. Like, and it's kind of nice
beers.
It's nice to see a beer company be apolitical. They didn't go the Bud Light route, right? They were like, we just do beer.
Just do beer, not politics. They could have done like a Two Fingers lager or something. You know what I mean? They could have really leaned into it, but no, they're like, we want nothing to do with it. We want nothing to do with this moment. We're embarrassed. We got secondhand embarrassment from our old friend Matt.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you saw, Karima brought a full-size cutout of him to a protest.
The best. Oh, just the best. Like, and it was the most popular thing.
I was like, I love your hustle, Karima. Like, good. This is how an independent journalist has to hustle. Right there.
Look at her go. Just an absolute legend, Karima. Like, this is life goals right here, where you catch a moment and you just dig right into it. You be like, this is mine. I am never letting this go. Like, good for her. I just love it so much. A life-size cutout. Just the best. And then people are posing with it, right? And giving the finger back to the boomers that would do this. Like, you know what? And this is a really interesting thing. They are making an example of this guy. She is absolutely making an example of this guy. Listen, you go out in public, you go out and support Mark Carney for prime minister, and you behave badly in front of the young people. Well, the young people are going to shame you into oblivion forever. Like, let this be your warning, boomers. You want to become this guy? Go out in public and do things like this guy did. Like with your elbows up, getting all aggressive and sticking it to the young people. They will make you pay for that, Canada. They will make you pay for that.
We'll show those young people trying to move out of their parents' houses. Like, we'll really show them.
Just wild. But anyway, well done, Karima Saad. We're super proud of you over here at Rebel, and like the cardboard cutout, just the best. Like, how quick
her turnaround time was like 24 hours on that. Like, I was so impressed. I was like, that's tough to do. Who's your printer? I want to know.
I wouldn't know the first place to start looking for a cardboard cutout of someone. Like, not even the first place.
No, good for her.
I think we gotta ask her. Hey, where'd you get that cardboard cutout, Karima? Like, we could do that. We could make a couple people famous. Sheila Gunn Reid, Stuart Benson at Hill Times #1. We'll just have him sitting in his chair pointing at Ezra. Yeah.
And that Wonder Bread loaf of a man from Ricochet, who was so outraged that he couldn't even get out of his seat, which is exactly why he didn't get a question.
Was he vibrating, or was that just me? Like, no, I thought I saw him like shaking Matt.
Yeah, no, he was. My dog does the same thing when I ask her to sit nice while I get a treat out of the bag, and she's just like, he was doing the exact same thing. Okay. Anyway.
It's just the best.
Six Buzz. Man speaks up during public interviews at TMU in Toronto. TMU is Toronto Metropolitan University. That's the old Ryerson, I believe, but that's racist now, so they tell me. So they changed the name to something boring. Anyways, let's watch this video. I have not watched it.
It's time for a change. We need more mass immigration, you feel me?
What?
All right, who do you want to see become next prime minister?
Probably like Jagmeet Singh, to be honest.
Whoa, Jagmeet Singh. Okay, tell me why Singh's the guy.
Bro, like, we need like more diversity in this country, you feel me? Like, more immigration.
Toronto.
So like, yo, it's too many, like, we need more DEIs, you feel me?
What do you mean by what's DI?
Like DUIs, diversity hires, you feel me? Like, we need more of that. Like, I seen like everyone like that's been a prime minister, it looks like everyone's the same, bro. Like, we need to switch it up a little bit, like.
Yeah, when you say the same, like, what do you mean by that?
Bro, like, everyone's just like an old white guy. Like, bro, like, it's Canada, bro. Like, come on, like, it's 2025, you feel me? It's time for a change. We need more Like we need more mass immigration. You feel me?
Okay, so you're voting for NDP,
100%, bro.
and why do you think Jag Meat's the guy for the job?
Yo, like honestly, like he just gives me them vibes. Like he's like
Vibes.
he gives me them like durag sing vibes. You feel me? Like like the Brampton mans.
Yeah.
Like bro, like we need some more like swag in our parliament. It's too many like old head white dudes that like, bro, they don't even like have no swag to them. Like Canada on the world stage, like bro, we need to have like a bit of swagger. You feel me? We need to have a bit of culture. You feel me? Like it's too much of the same stuff. Like, yo, my boy Jag Meat, bro, like, and I saw him, he's ready to crash out. We need a prime minister that's about it, you feel me?
Yeah.
You see that video where he crashed out on the guy?
Yeah.
Bro, we can't have no bitches as no prime minister, bro. Like he has to like stand up for our rights, you feel me? He needs to be ready to crash out at any time.
Is that real? Efron, help me. Is that real? Is that what the young people are like in Toronto? That can't be real. That's not real, right?
I miss the person I was before having to watch that video. You feel me? You feel me, bro?
You feel me,
You feel those
bro?
vibes? Yeah.
That wasn't real. That wasn't real. Are they just letting anybody into that university? What are the admission requirements? Just can you pay tuition? Okay, get on in here, you big lug. What's happening? That wasn't real. I refuse to believe that was real, bro. You feel me?
I believe that that's real, bro. And I believe that Jug Meat has infiltrated. Yeah, I believe that Jug Meat has infiltrated his TikTok feed, and he is doing nothing but watching left-wing influencers talk about DEI and
we need more DEIs. I
think
which I didn't realize was a noun.
DEIs. Hey, you know what I learned today? Just like slightly off topic, that DEI is now DEI, so it's decolonization, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So DDEI. So they're adding acronyms, and with every letter, it's going to cost us hundreds of millions of dollars.
Just like the LGBTQ stuff. They just
to S
LGBTQI. Yeah, they're doubling up now.
Yeah,
I don't think that was real. I think that guy was, as they used to say, punking him. I realize that is a very dated reference, but I just can't believe that was real. I have young people in and around that age, and that was a university student. That's the part that really gets me. Are they just letting anybody in there?
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. And I feel like this is a lot more common in Canadian post-secondary institutions than we would be technically comfortable with, Sheila Gunn-Reid. Like, I think what's important is we show all of our sons and daughters that video and say, if you ever bring somebody into our house that sounds like this, okay, you are bounded.
Do not bring shame upon this family.
Do not darken
even
this
knowing this person.
No, this isn't
real.
Wow.
I have a hard time. I just don't believe that this is real. Is it real?
Oh, I
Tell
do.
me in the comments, you guys. Is this real?
Sheila, the only thing he's missing is rainbow hair. Okay, if he was wearing the only reason why there's like a little bit of a disconnect here is because he looks like a jock. Okay, if he was wearing the rainbow uniform, if he had multicolored hair, if he had a bunch of nose piercings and was wearing boho and smelled like patchouli and weed, okay, we'd be like, oh yeah, this is 100% on brand. It's just because he looks like a sort of well put together sporting kid, and he's not. I think this is a perfect example of how post-secondary has gone completely wrong in Canada. Well done, young man. Well done.
Also, I have question. By the way, we need more diversity. Toronto is a majority minority city now, right? So it is the most diverse city in the country. But I also have questions about this emerging Torontonian accent amongst the young people. And I say this as someone who fights hard every day to not expose the nation to her very strong rural Alberta accent. You get a couple of Coors Lights in me, and the amount of for sure's coming out of my mouth is untouchable. Like I get off the rev limiter a little bit about it. So I know that I can get a little bit up in my nose when I talk, and I have some Alberta isms. I know it. But what is it with this emerging Torontonian dialect that is so horrible on the inside of your ear?
It's TikTokian is what it is. It's TikTokian. That's the dialect
Yes.
that he's speaking right there. You feel me? You feel me? The
You
vibes?
feel
You
me,
feel me?
bro?
You feel me,
He's
bro?
got the
Yeah.
vibes, bro.
Yeah. This is just the vernacular of young people right now who are captivated by social media and don't ever step outside of those social media circles.
There are parents, first generation Canadians, who care about education, sending their children to TMU, and they are coming out like that. I
Yep.
just don't think that they can be feeling like they're getting a good bang for their buck right now.
You know, I just see his first generation Canadian mother seeing that, and then hitting him with her shoe. You know, just like taking off the house slipper and just laying a whipping on him. You brought shame upon our family. That's what
Yeah.
I would do if that
Think
was
of
my
your
kid, like
family.
without
Think of
question.
the honor of your ancestors before you put on a
Yes.
performance like that. And again,
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that this is real. I am not.
I am.
I might be remarking on something that is totally fake, but because I can't tell the difference, that's a strong condemnation of the state of the culture right now, right?
Oh yeah. 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 More DEIs.
We
More
need more
DEIs.
DEIs, which is
Yeah.
now, I guess.
No more old white
Uh,
guys. Okay, no more old white guys. It's all in how you look. It's
we
all
need
in
more
your diversity
do-rags.
points.
We
Yeah,
need more
more
do-rags from
do-rag.
Brampton. Okay, maybe we
Oh,
do.
just the best. You know, the best part is that kid is going to be really sorely disappointed on election night. And, you know, I
From
hope
your
he
lips
takes his
to God's
sadness to
ears.
TikTok and we can revisit him after.
I honestly, I can't wait.
Yeah, me
Honestly, I
neither.
can't wait. Now, speaking of DEIs, we got a tweet from our favorite taxpayer-funded DEI monstrosity, Faye Johnstone. I saw out on the streets, someone took a picture of Faye's taxpayer-funded activist group with some anti-conservative messaging on it. Just everybody should be aware. Faye Johnstone gets a lot of money from the federal government to be
Millions,
anti-conservative, millions
millions,
of
millions of
dollars
dollars.
without divulging it in right now. And I'm doing my best to make sure that we stay on YouTube. When we talk about Faye, we will not misgender. We're just going to use the complete first name if we have to, as opposed to pronouns. But Faye Johnstone says the Conservative Party of Canada platform only mentions women 4 times, with 3 of those mentions relating to anti-trans policy pledges. This isn't what Canadians want or need from our politicians or political parties. I'm sure
Yes,
you've
it is.
got. Okay, I'm gonna let you just unleash, but do your best to not get us on the wrong side of
Sure.
YouTube.
Just let me align my chakras right here. Let me just get my chakras all up in her. Okay, that the conservative. Okay, so it only a liberal would say, a liberal who believes that men can transform into women and then complain about the number of times women are mentioned in the conservative platform would have a beef with this. So I think that the main thing to take away is when the conservative platform mentions women, they actually just mean women, like the old fashioned ones, the ones with wombs, okay, not the new fandangled kind, okay, the ones that just declare that they are women, but but preserving women only spaces such as prisons, such as shelters, such as sports, such as washrooms and change rooms is not anti-trans. It is pro-woman. The conservative platform is the only mainstream political platform that is dedicated to the well-being of actual women and actual girls, not the pretend ones, not the new fandangled ones. And yeah, Faye Johnstone is undertaking a initiative right now, a campaign called Drag the Vote, where all of the drag queens across the nation, you know, the ones that hang out in public libraries with little kids that aren't theirs, all of the drag queens, okay, are whipping the left wing vote. So here we go. Oh,
Oh,
here we go, Canada. Look, this is what the liberals support. This is what the
right.
Liberal Party of Canada and the NDP support. So are you for real women? Are you for mothers? Are you for sisters? Are you for daughters? Are you for little girls? Or
Are you for affordability or are you for
Are
this?
you
Like, this is what they think the big issue is for Canadians, like
yeah.
middle Canadians, young people. They don't care about this. I hope they never stop. My only problem with all of this is that it's all taxpayer funded.
Yes, without question. Well, because without taxpayer funding, Sheila, without the hundreds of millions of dollars that have gone to NGOs, non-governmental organizations, without that false support, there would be no support for these initiatives. This entire thing is a contrived mechanism by the federal government to make this look like it has massive public support when it does not. When it
Yeah.
does not. Queer and
Can
trans
we?
issues have barely been discussed this election. It's worth talking about. Okay, you know what also hasn't been discussed this election that much? The women's upholding women's rights in Canada and the
Yeah.
encroachment by a certain segment of the population onto women's rights. That's what hasn't been talked about hardly at all.
You know what also was missing from that article about Faye Johnstone's outrage was any indication that Faye Johnstone's organization was federally funded.
No. Well, no.
So
because
every
that would
time
be
you see these activists, cut and paste the name of the group directly into the federal government database on fundings and grants. And
That's
then you'll
right.
find out how sincere they really are.
Yep. And they've got their funding mechanisms down so, I mean, on such lockdown that they can come up with a campaign like this, like Drag the Vote, in less than 6 weeks. They can have an entire national
they were ready.
campaign bought and paid for within 6 weeks. And this is what your taxpayer funds are going towards, Canada. You okay with
Yeah.
this? You okay with this, Canada? Where food bank usage is going through the roof, where people can't afford housing, you're okay with your tax dollars going towards
Right.
these kind of initiatives? Well, if you are, then please, by all means, vote for the Liberal Party of Canada. Liberal Party of Canada is for they, them, and the Conservative Party is for us, the men and women.
Oh, that's such a good. That's a good soundbite, Lisa. I can tell you've done radio. Yeah. While the Privy Council bureaucrats are predicting a Hunger Games like scenario for the rest of us, where we are choking the daylights out of a coyote in a public park to feed our families, we've got to make sure that the drag queens and kings have all their federal funding that they need.
Mm-hmm. It's a sad
Thank
state
you.
of affairs, Canada, and this is what we've got. And the truth is, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars have gone towards these initiatives in this past 10 years. Probably more than that. When you like, seriously, it is an egregious misappropriation of public funds.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they don't ask us before they spend it. They don't ask us before they spend it. They spend it and then they convince us that it's a good idea. And if you
Right.
only watch the CBC or mainstream media, you probably do think it's a good idea. Yeah.
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 All right.
But our
We've got
viewers are smarter than that, aren't they?
That's why they're here.
That's right.
We've got a quick chat, an ad read. We'll hit a Rebel News ad break, and then we'll try to get to the rest of the stuff on the agenda. So Menacing Muskrat 2 gives us $20. Oh boy, that's generous.
Thank
and
you.
says, awesome, go Rebel, great work, Rebel. Sincerely from Mrs. Menacing Muskrat, 6 days to go. Yeah, it feels like that's not enough time, but it also feels like it's too much time.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know how I'm going to survive. I'm not quite sure.
Well, we're going to spend 2 days together, so that'll kill some
Mrs.
time.
Menacing Muskrat. That's right. It's going to be a good time tomorrow. These next 48 are going to be a great time, Sheila Gunn-Reid.
Also, muskrats are menacing. We used to have a real muskrat problem. Scaring my dog all the time. They're hideous. Hideous.
I only know them when they're made into coats, when they're made into fashion.
Yeah. Mittens. Yes. Okay. 1775 coffee allow us to pay the bills around here. Weak coffee is for the weak, and at Rumble, weak has never been part of the mission. No fillers, no fraud, and no settling for mediocrity. Just like 1775 coffee. It's single origin, small farm, hand-picked, specialty grade coffee that stands for quality, free speech, and calling out BS when it matters. Forget stale, mass-produced beans roasted just enough to hide the flaws. Dark roast hits like a Trump tariff. Medium roast keeps it bold without the bitterness, and Vitality Mushroom Blend, real energy and lasting focus with no synthetic garbage. For K-Cup pods, whole bean, or fresh ground coffee, go to 1775coffee.com, use code STUDIO for 15% off, and start your morning with coffee that stands for something. Oh, yes. And every dollar spent enters you to win a Cybertruck and $30,000 cash. All right, let's hit a Rebel News ad break, and let's come back and we'll talk about Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson talking about us, and Joe Warmington getting the Rebel News treatment from the rest of the mainstream media.
Do you agree with me? It is time to make Canada great again. And that is why we at Rebel News have teamed up with MCGA hats to introduce, well, the fashion sensation of 2025. Oh, and by the way, these beautiful hats, they are made in Canada. We don't rely on cheap imports coming over from China. So what are you waiting for, folks? Show your pride. This is the perfect thing for a patriot to wear, or maybe there's a patriot in your life that you would like to gift such a hat. Please go to mcgahats.ca. That's mcgahats.ca. Don't be shy about it. Wear this cap. Let everybody know you want to make Canada great again.
What if governments are trying to reinvent the wheel when the greatest teacher of all times has already laid out the perfect blueprint for a constitution for a kingdom of love, faith, and freedom? Introducing the Kingdom of Heaven Freedom Passport. This special edition Freedom Passport captures the foundational truths of love, ethics, and freedom for all. It's a powerful reminder of Jesus' call to love one another and to be part of something bigger that you can carry with you every day. Join the movement, share the truth, and spread the love with your family and friends. Get your Kingdom of Heaven Freedom Passport at freedompassport.ca. And right now, all orders in North America come with free shipping and a free downloadable song with every purchase.
All right. Unlike Doug Ford's Canada is not for sale hats that are made in China and
Bangladesh.
Haiti.
Yeah.
They're China and Haiti. I know because I saw them at the airport and took a picture of it. So those hats are actually made in Canada. So those are for sale. So anyway.
There you have it. We need Make Canada Great Again buttons. Okay.
Oh.
We need Rebel Fam buttons, because the one thing that I notice when I wear my Rebel hoodie out in the wild is that it attracts other Rebel viewers. And like you have an immediate group of friends built into any group you're in. So we need little buttons that people can.
I've got remind me to bring you. I've got some stickers here. You can give out the hard hat stickers. Yeah.
And I'm going to send you a list of merch. Like I'm just going to see if you have it on hand. And yeah. Okay. Yeah, because it's important to represent and find your people, find your tribe in the wild Canada, and nothing does it faster than Rebel gear.
It's true. Let's go to Jordan Peterson. I think the best-selling thinker in the entire Anglosphere was on Joe Rogan discussing the absolute maniacal buffoonery of the CBC at the Debates Commission and the collusion with the mainstream media when they couldn't figure out how to shut us up or outwork us. They decided to just cancel everybody. But Jordan Peterson says some kind of nice things about us. He calls us a tabloid, which whatever. So is the Daily Mail. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I know. I'll give you a little example of Canada. So we had the English leadership debate a week ago, and the powers that be who organized the debate, the legacy media types, with CBC radically involved, couldn't figure out how to exclude rebel media. You know, that right-wing news, kind of tabloidy news group from Canada, Ezra
Mhm.
Levant, who's been buzzing about for 10 years, causing trouble like a right-wing tabloid journalist, which is what he is. Well, they didn't want him in the press scrum for the leaders after the debate. So they canceled it. They canceled the journalists' interviews of the 4 leading contenders for prime minister in Canada because some right-wing tabloid journalists, they've had a newspaper or a media empire for 10 years. I don't care what you think of it. It's not the point. The point is they canceled the journalist scrum after the English language debate.
That's so
And no one
fascinating.
complained.
But that doesn't even make sense. Like, if you're a presidential candidate and you're or prime minister candidate and you're encountering someone that has an opposing perspective, you should have really good answers. That's
Oh,
it.
look, if your guy's leading, why ask questions? That's the legacy media in Canada. It's the CBC.
Right.
It's state funded, right? Right to the core.
Right.
1.4 think about this, Joe. This is our bloody state media. It's so funny. $1.4 billion in direct government subsidy and $600 million in federal advertising per year. $2 billion. Go to the CBC website on YouTube. You look at their last 20 videos. I'll guarantee that not a single one of them has more than 200 views. Right, which means the people who made the video clips didn't watch them. Right. That's what you get for $2 billion. Now, everyone in Canada who's older than 55 watches legacy media.
Right.
And Polyev said he'd defund the CBC. So you can imagine they're not exactly covering him in a positive way.
Joe has a great point there, though. If you're running for the prime ministerial role in Canada, you should be prepared to answer questions from people
Right.
across the spectrum. Across the spectrum.
Right, but they're not.
No.
But they're not, because they know, unlike in the United States, the mainstream media's funding depends on the Liberal Party. Now, in the United States, they can be pro-Democrat, and that's fine, but they don't rely directly on the government for their funding.
Right.
It's a little different, right? Like, this is the problem with funding the media.
They have other revenue streams in the United States.
Right.
NPR, for instance, National Public Radio. They do listener funding. They do all sorts of ads. They do also, they have many, many different revenue streams. Whereas the CBC is disproportionately reliant on the federal funding that they get from the Liberal Party of Canada via the Government of Canada. Like, of course they're going to be biased. Of course they're going to, like, the way that they are self-serving in this moment. It's self-preservation. They're reporting to save their own skins, and it's obvious in their bias reporting that that's what they're doing.
They are covering the Liberals like their lives depend on it. Because
they really and the Conservatives too. I saw yesterday David
Right.
Cochrane. I saw a clip of David Cochrane saying, Pierre Poilievre has promised to defund the CBC. Well, that's actually not what he said, David Cochrane. He said that he is going to turn you into a self-pedaling bike. You are going to pay your own way, the same as other media organizations like Rebel News has had to for the last 10 years. You're going to have to pay your own way. You're going to have to figure it out. But that would force the CBC to change their entire model of operations. So
it did bring me a lot of joy, though, to watch that BS merchant David Cochrane have to say that out loud with his face on the network. That did make me a little bit happy. I was like, that's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows why you hate the Conservatives. Now, we don't hate the media enough. We don't, because we all saw, regardless of what the mainstream media would play it out to be, we saw how they treated us at the Debates Commission. And I'm not a victim. I'm actually glad that I was there. I was saying to Chris Sims from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation earlier, before I jumped on air here, I I'm actually glad that I saw it all happen. My feelings are not hurt at all, as you can very clearly tell. Sometimes I listen to CBC radio to remind myself why it shouldn't exist. And sometimes you don't want to get inside yourself and say, like, oh, Rebel News needs to exist because we serve as a counterbalance to the mainstream media. Sometimes you need to test your hypothesis. My hypothesis was tested during the debates commission. I'm like, yeah, these people are insane liars. And I know why I need to continue the work that I do at Rebel News. It might have radicalized me a little bit more against the existence of the mainstream media, at least insofar as they take their money from the government. So they treated us poorly. Then fast forward a couple of days, they do it to Lorraine Brett of the New Westminster Times, Glenn McGregor, that lunatic. He said that she was a conservative plant, even though she's a mom with some expertise in addiction policy and issues. Then fast forward one more day, they're turning on Joe Warmington, the scrawler. They heckled Joe Warmington.
Our Joe Warmington.
Our crime reporter, Joe Warmington. And so he asks about the Policy Horizons Doomsday Scenario Report out of the Privy Council office, saying by 2040, we will be a society of serfs and aristocrats. And again, you'll be choking out a goose down at the local swimming hole to feed your family. And you might couch surf for the rest of your days.
Yeah.
So
and Joe Warmington said, as a journalist for, I think he said over 40 years. I think he's been a journalist for over 40 years in Canada.
Like my
and
life.
Really, no more fair a man has there ever been in journalism, right? Joe is fair to an absolute fault. And he said he's never seen anything like this report in 40 years of covering the news in Canada. And so this is what Joe
asks about it. So Joe asks about it, and then the media starts heckling him. And I'm like, Joe, it was like that for 2 days. Like toddlers, I thought they would tire themselves out, but nap time never came. It never came. They just kept going. And I think it's because the CBC kept putting out treats at the back of the room. I'm like, quit giving these people sugar. They can't behave themselves. They did it to Joe when he asked this question about the biggest story in the country that day.
Mr. Polyev, Joe Warmington from the Toronto Sun and Post Media.
Hey, Joe.
Nice to be here today. And
thank you.
I would be remiss as a reporter to not talk about what you talked about. And I want to talk about the platform, but just before that, you mentioned about this report out of the Privy Council.
Yeah.
Now, as a crime reporter, if you will, when I hear something like that, I cannot believe what I've heard. It's such a stark contrast to what you talked about in your platform. But I do want to go back, if you can address that, how that's going to help fix it. But that is the most negative thing in my 40 years in journalism that I've ever heard about Canada. I don't see it too many places in the media, and I think it can't be glossed over. So I'd like to talk about that and how you're going to fix that if you win on next week.
I think you're absolutely right. I'm shocked that, like, this is not an interest group or an opinion columnist or even a think tank that has put out this report. It is not even just a government department.
Anyway, that was Joe asking a question, and he's a crime reporter. So when you are reading a report that says, like, people are going to descend into mass civil disobedience, they're not going to pay their taxes, they're going to look for other revenue streams, which means crime, and they are going to rebel against the system that is crushing them. It behooves a crime reporter to ask about that, by the way. And he said they heckled him and berated him. They did it to us, they got away with it. So then they do it to Lorraine. Lorraine is they're completely independent. So now they're doing it to, and I don't want to say Joe is one of theirs, but he does work for the mainstream media, and now they're turning on their own.
Joe,
he said, yeah, go
Joe
ahead.
is the elder statesman of journalism in Canada and pox Okay, box on the peons who would be mean to Joe Warmington.
So
An
nice.
absolute gem of a human being. Truly, truly. Pox on the evil little doers who would hiss at him, hiss and spit at him for asking a genuine question. You know, we've talked about this, Sheila, in the background, but so much of their vitriol comes from a deep place of jealousy
Yeah.
that their handlers in their really cushy mainstream media umbrellaed elitist little circles didn't give them permission to ask questions like Joe did there. And here's a guy who has a little bit of leeway to make decisions and to ask these things on the fly. But truly, like, that they turned on Joe Warmington is really telling where we're at as a nation, because this is a guy who's like above reproach. Like, they
completely respected.
uh-huh.
He's in documentaries, at least 2 of them that I know about. And like, I'm in documentaries, but I made those documentaries. He's in documentaries where the documentary filmmakers are like, that guy is the journalist of note on this story. We must talk to him. And so
this is a guy who can talk about any topic about at length about to any person under the sun. Like, he's so nice and he's so affable and he's so we talked at length about the Barry and Honey Sherman murders. That's where our relationship kicked off.
Yes.
We shared a big tray of ribs one time. and Joe, really, there is no more gentlemanly a man than Joe Warmington, and they were mean to them. So you know what? That makes me your enemy. That makes me your enemy. If you're mean to Joe, then you're going to have to deal with me and Sheila. And
you
Sheila.
cross Joe, you cross us. You got that?
That's right.
This is your warning.
Right.
I hope I never see you out in the world. We got a chat from Alex Greer 279 says, great work, Sheila and Lise. Well, thank you so much. Let's time left. Let's go into the extras portion of the show. A couple of things I want to touch on. Conservative candidate, I know Tamara Ugolini has a report coming out about this today. Conservative candidate Joe Tay. So he's the one that was threatened with abduction and ransoming, I guess, by Paul Chang, who was not removed from his position by the party. Joe Tay has paused his public campaigning after warnings from the RCMP. So it's too dangerous for him to campaign against the other Chinese spy cop that the Liberals replaced Paul Chang with. This is like
that's running against him.
Yeah. Right. This is so crazy. Like, it hardly seems like it could be real.
This is more than concerning for Canadians that we have communist Chinese operatives really icing out local candidates. Like, if this isn't a prime example of election interference, foreign interference, then I don't know what is. But that this is happening in Canada. Like, how is this being allowed to happen in Canada?
Also, what the F is going on in this riding? So this is from the Bureau's reporting, but I remember this stuff with Bob Soroyo when it happened, because I'm long in the tooth and I've been around politics for a long time. So it says Tay, a journalist and pro-democracy advocate born in Hong Kong, is running for the Conservative Party in the Don Valley North riding. Remember that riding? Handong? Federal intelligence sources have confirmed that his political activities have made him a target for Beijing-linked online attacks and digital suppression efforts, WeChat, in the lead up to next week's federal election. Tay's need to suspend door knocking yesterday in Don Valley North echoes concerns raised in a neighboring riding during the 2021 federal election, where the Bureau previously uncovered allegations of the Chinese government intimidation and targeting of voters and a conservative incumbent. According to senior conservative sources, Chinese agents attempted to intimidate voters and monitor the door-to-door campaign of then incumbent MP Bob Soroya in Markham Unionville. Paul Chang, and then it goes into the threats to abduct Joe Tay. What is going on in Toronto? Like,
Toronto needs right now?
Joe Tay should have a police escort so that he can continue to knock those doors.
Well, that's just saying something. It's like, well, what is the danger to him if he continues knocking doors? Is he knocks on the wrong door and gets snatched into the house and never
$1 million.
seen again? That is the implication of this. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And then we have that kid on the other side, okay, who says we need more DEI. We need more of this. This is
More
what
DEIs.
more DEIs. DEIs. You feel me,
Yeah.
bro? You feel me, bro?
You feel me,
No,
bro?
but this is
You know what I'm
more
saying,
this
bro?
is more than concerning. Yeah, yeah. Hey, bro. You know what I'm saying? This is more than concerning for Canadians, and it should be. This should
Yeah.
not be happening in it, and it wouldn't be happening in a healthy democracy. But as we know, well, we've seen our rights and democracy slip over these last 10 years, have we not, Canada?
Speaking of election interference, the National Post on Marty Morantz, Jewish conservative candidate in Winnipeg. So you've got your two larger Jewish populations. Well, three. So you've got Toronto, Montreal, and Winnipeg. And Marty Morantz, his signs have been vandalized, particularly on private property belonging to Jewish residents.
Okay.
And they put, they call him traitor, and they dressed him up like Hitler.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
my.
Jewish. He's Jewish. So anyway.
Such is the state of Canada.
Such is the state of Canada. Two more things, if you'll allow me, Olivia. World Economic Forum launches probe into founder Klaus Schwab after whistleblower allegations. You're telling me that
What?
the man who looks exactly like a Bond villain was up to no good around there? Well, I never.
Well, color me all the shocked. Just color me all the shocked. Yeah.
By the
You're
way,
telling me that the evildoer, okay, who said that he's infiltrated our government, that our cabinet is compromised, that he's all in on one world government control, was up to no good in the background? Financially? Shush your mouth. I'll believe it when I see it.
So apparently the allegations are financial. I guess, thank goodness, because I would hate to think of anything worse. But oh God, he looks like such a big toe. But I guess from the guy who replaced him, Peter Brabeck Letmat, I don't know.
Okay.
He's the guy who replaced Klaus Schwab, and he also looks like a Bond villain, a stereotypical Bond villain. They're going down the list. We're gonna have Goldfinger right away. Like at this point, I don't know. But yeah, it's Klaus Schwab. He's in trouble. They said he was using WEF resources for himself, if you can imagine that. See, look, does he have a glass eye? This guy was made in a lab to be a villain.
I don't like it. That's what all of my nightmares look like, you guys. Okay, all of my nightmares feature a twitchy geriatric. And look at what is happening. Stop it.
He looks like a scary doll.
He looks like he's part robot. Does he not? Like with a lens for an eye that doesn't blink. Ooh, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Same way I feel when I look at Mark Carney. Mark Carney's teeth set me on edge. His incisors, something about his incisors say evil villain to me, evildoer. And look at, like, there's no way that you can look at this guy and think, yeah, that's a good grandpa who's not going to do us wrong.
Yeah.
This guy looks like he eats little children for breakfast.
He definitely doesn't look like an iguana with a glass eye and a wig. Like, definitely not. Looks perfectly normal. Not like a haunted doll at all. At all.
He lives in an attic. He lives in an attic.
Sure.
Full of cobwebs and dust. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what he looks
definitely
like.
has strings on his hands. For sure. Good
I'm so happy
grief.
we saw that though. Okay, if there was any doubt that the WEF is populated by evildoers who are plotting against us, well, just take a look at that guy. Yeah.
He's a human jump scare. Like, he completely is. We should have warned everybody. I feel like I should have warned everybody because I did look. I was like, who did they replace him with? I'm like, ah! I should have warned everybody that the human
We should
jump
do one of
scare
those.
is who's
We should do one of those videos, Sheila, where it like follows a car, weaving through some valleys. Rah, that guy's face. That's what we should do.
I
at
could do
Rebel.
an entire segment once a week, haunted doll or globalist. Iguana in a wig or globalist. And I'll just show you the picture and you guys can pick.
We won't be able to tell. There is no difference. They are the same. They are the
They
same.
are the same.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the trick. They're the same. Good grief.
Don't. I'm uncomfortable. I just want to cover up. I just want to pull a blankie around me. There's nothing. Patrick Braybeck Letmath.
Or let Mata.
Okay.
Depend, I guess. I don't know. My dialect of the sinister is not strong, so I don't know, but he's a frightening fellow. Okay. All right. Let's move
Okay.
on to the next frightening thing and we'll wrap the show. Leaked audio of Prime Minister Mark Carney telling his elite globalist buddies, I suppose like this absolute haunted doll of a human being, how they will make a lot of money off their net zero plan. So, of course, it's never about the environment, because if it were, these people would act like it. Like if I thought the oceans were going to rise, if I believed David Suzuki about the rising oceans,
Right.
I would expect him to move off the beach, but he has a lot of beach houses. So these guys sure don't act like the world is going to end if I take my comfortable SUV to Saskatoon tomorrow. And they know it. And they said the quiet part out loud, especially Mark Carney, who, as we know, is every time he announces a policy, your question for yourself should be, how's Brookfield going to make money off this? And then you'll find out that somehow Brookfield is tangentially associated with it.
That's right.
But anyways, let's listen to this leaked audio.
Stood up and said, we're going to manage to net zero by 2050. Actually, we're going to have specific targets by 2025 and 2030, so you can measure the short term. They don't say this quite as loudly, but what they're also saying and thinking, and we're going to make a lot of money off of this because actually this is the way the world's headed. I mean, I'm not sure exactly when we get there, but to be carbon competitive is going to be value creating. Stood up and said, we're going to manage to net zero.
Okay. Well, Mark Carney is a kleptocrat who is a ruler that uses political power to steal his or her country's resources. And Canada is a kleptocracy, which is a government whose corrupt leaders use political power to expropriate the wealth of the people and the land they govern by embezzling or misappropriating government funds at the expense of the wider population. That's what Mark Carney is. That's what the Liberal Party is. That's what the government of Canada is. We are being economically raped by people like Mark Carney. You heard it for yourselves there, Canada. He is interested in making money for his very well-heeled friends, not for Canadians, not for our benefit. And P.S., these are all of our natural resources he's talking about and our lives. He's talking about impacting.
In Mark Carney's Canada in 2040, you are going to be snaring jackrabbits down at the playground to feed your family while he's getting richer and richer through his kleptocratic policies. That's what's going to happen to us. And he's admitting it out loud. There's lots of money to be made. Oh, not for us. You're putting an emissions cap on us. So yes, I will be catching frogs and boiling them in a pot, not metaphorically, but in real life to stay alive, if we leave these people in charge.
This is how we become witches, Sheila. This
is
how we become witches.
Here, get your cauldron.
boiling frogs over a cauldron. Yep, but this is Mark Carney's way, right? And make no mistake, while Canadians are suffering, and while we're snaring jackrabbits in a field, Mark Carney and all of his friends are going to be taking private aircraft to climate conferences in exotic locales. Is this what we
Right.
want for Canada? Is this what we want to continue for Canada? And let's not forget that they suspended Parliament to keep Canadians from learning just how deep the rot and the corruption went, siphoning our tax dollars into their projects that they
Yeah.
directly benefited from.
Speaking of which, I've been thinking about that more. And I think this is an issue for Rick Perkins, who I forget where I put him on my list. Oh, he's at procurement now. Anyway, on my fantasy football board in my office of who is potential cabinet ministers in a Pierre Poilievre government. Larry Brock, of course, is at AG. Environment, I put Blaine Calkins because he is he's an actual parks ranger. So like he would actually be fine at parks. But I'm curious about how much of that Green Slush Fund money went to Brookfield affiliated companies.
Oh, wouldn't that be great to know? Unfortunately, we can't because Mark Carney hasn't divulged. No, because Mark Carney hasn't divulged his financial interest to Canadians, and it's likely that he never will.
Yes. Okay. I think we touched on everything I wanted to talk about. And I think we were completely YouTube safe when we were talking about Faye Johnstone, which is a relief. I was very proud. We've got a couple of chats, and then we'll wrap her up, and then I will finish my day and then pack my stuff so that I can sort of get out of here mid-morning tomorrow to get to Saskatoon. So we've got a chat from Knowledge is Power, gives us $5. Thank you so much, and says, who do you think is ahead in the vote? I think it can go either way right now.
I'm going to say the Conservatives, and just by a hair, and only by what I witnessed at my own polling station, which had lineups for 2 hours.
It's hard to tell. We're on the prairies.
I know.
It's not up to us.
I know. That is the saddest state of affairs. Don't remind me, Sheila. But I'm going to say the Conservatives just by a hair right now, and I believe that they're working extra hard at their get out the vote right now. So,
well, and that's the thing. Like Andrew Scheer, he won the popular vote, remember? But that doesn't matter in Canada because we can't vote blue any harder out here in the West, right? Like the Conservatives are going to take some ridings with like 75% of the vote easily. And so they're going to get a lot of votes by numbers, but it, as they say, is inefficient. It's where your votes are that counts.
It's distribution.
Yeah, it's up to Toronto, really.
And we watched that kid from Toronto.
We just saw the Toronto young people. They're not the same as ours. Their boomers aren't the same. Our young people aren't the same.
We raise them different out here in the West.
I look at that kid and I'm like, he's roughly the same as my boy who's out welding on a platform today somewhere in the breeze. And I just think, wow, my goodness.
Yep.
My goodness gracious. Okay. So I don't know. I'm with Lise. I think maybe the Conservatives are ahead, but I'm ready morally to be completely disappointed by the selfishness of Eastern boomers.
Me too.
Yep.
Me too. But we have some options. We have some recourse this time that I don't think that we had in elections gone by. So no matter what, Western Canada, we're going
to be okay. We'll be okay. Nana Awake gives us $10 and says, as someone who has literally lived through so many versions of the end of the world, I've lost count. The only danger to the world, environment, and humanity is the globalist lizard cult. Ooh. We just saw the new head of the globalist lizard cult.
Nana is a wide awake. Change your name to Nana Wide Awake. Thanks, buddy. Thanks so much for that.
Yeah. He does look like an iguana with a wig, right? A little bit.
He doesn't look like the kind of man that you would ask for help. you know, on a deserted on a deserted road, or if you were in need of assistance, like there is no worse. Actually, there, I don't like it. I just don't.
I don't like looking at him. I don't. There's something so. It's like uncanny valley. It's like when the androids are a little bit too human. That's what we're getting. It just gives me the heebie-jeebies completely all over. He's the new globalist in charge. So
Red flags. Yeah, I feel red flags coming off of him. He doesn't pass the vibe check, Sheila. You hear
no,
me, bro?
we need more. You hear me, bro? The vibes
Yeah.
are not good from him. Okay. Well, everybody, that's the show for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks, Olivia Efron and everybody who works behind the scenes at Rebel News to put the show together for you. Lise, thanks for coming along with me on this wild ride.
You're so welcome. You are so very welcome. Nobody loves it more. And we will see you tomorrow, Sheila Gunn Reid, Saskatoon, for the Pierre Poilievre rally at 4 p.m. We'll see you there, Saskatchewan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks to everybody who chipped in to help us keep the lights on here at Rebel News. We appreciate it. We know that, you know, times are tough. You have less money in your pocket than ever before, thanks to these liberal kleptomaniacs. So we appreciate that you choose us with what little bit you have left. And someone will see you tomorrow, maybe me for a bit anyway. And as my friend David Menzies always says, when he's out there in the world absolutely not following his own advice, stay safe and stay sane.